Welcome to the Let's Slow Down Summer Series. I'm your host, Anne Marie, and I'm here to help you surrender to summer with short podcast episodes that focus on adding simplicity and ease to your life. In embracing a slower vibe this season, the podcast will air bi-weekly every other Tuesday, with our regular weekly cadence returning in the fall. I'm excited to share that I'm writing a book. I'd like to encourage you to go to letsslowdown.net to sign up for updates on the release of Let's Slow Down, the book. Now let's get into today's summer short. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Slow Down podcast. Welcome to episode 84, the final summer short episode of 2024. Hard to believe. And I have a lot to cover in this one. I have a fun announcement along with a review of my experience taking the Minimalist Fashion Challenge Project 333. And finally, 5 ways to simplify a busy season. And before I get going, I just want to apologize. I do have a little summer cold, so excuse my voice for the day. So here we go. First of all, I am thrilled to announce that my book, Let's Slow Down, The Art of Simple Intentional Living, it's here. It's now available on Amazon in paperback and as an ebook. And I will give a full rundown of it next week on the podcast. But I couldn't wait. I had to share about it today. Many of you have been asking when it was going to be available, and it finally is. So it was written really as a companion to this podcast to explore all of the amazing topics we talk about here and expand on my personal experiences and life lessons. The book is for anyone who feels like life is moving a little too fast these days. If all of the busyness is making you crave room to breathe and space to just be, I invite you to slow down and find peace again. By following the gentle shifts outlined in this book, it is possible to carve out a little pocket of calm for yourself, even in this busy world. I will link it in the show notes for those of you interested in buying a copy. Now, I also want to wrap up my experience with Project 333. To recap what this is, Project 333 is the minimalist fashion challenge created by Courtney Carver that invites you to dress with 33 items or less for 3 months. So I started this back on Memorial Day at the beginning of summer, so end of May. And I'm still doing it to this day. I've made it the 3 months, and my experience has been overwhelmingly positive. The biggest benefit, I would say, is the streamlined closet. It is so much more soothing to my eyes and just overall, it's just an overall better way to start the day. Apparently, I get stressed out by having too many options. I definitely knew that was an issue, but this has really helped in that department. And by paring down, I got to only keep the clothing that I look and feel my best in. I saved a lot of time getting ready, and I know I saved money this summer because indirectly it resulted in me not buying many clothes at all. So, full transparency, I did have to replace a few t-shirts, but in that process, I got rid of the old stained ones. And I did make a single purchase of a new dress, which was for an extended family photo shoot. I really couldn't avoid buying that. So, other than that, I didn't buy any clothes for the last 3 months. It doesn't sound like much as I say it out loud, but let me tell you, those impulse buys have a way of creeping in. And there were quite a few times, especially at the beginning of this project, I had to remind myself of the challenge that I was doing. And that was pretty much the deciding factor in buying something new. I just never realized how much I kind of stopped and looked and maybe even tried things on. So this was really eye-opening for those habits of mine. So would I do it again? Absolutely. And I think I'll continue it as I move into the fall. Obviously, I'm going to have to make some tweaks as the weather gets colder, but I do plan to keep less in my closet. Honestly, I would recommend it to absolutely anyone, but it would be especially helpful if you're looking to live with less, if you want to lower your wardrobe expenses, or if you just feel kind of stressed out in this department. Less is definitely more. And I found it really made me more creative and confident in what I wore too. So if this resonated with you, why not try the challenge and see how you like it? give it a try. I mean, I kind of wasn't sure if I'd be able to do it. It sounded really hard, but it wasn't. And as with anything, just don't be too hard on yourself. There is no need to be super rigid with this at all. Cater the challenge to your needs and just go with it. The important piece is to get intentional about what you're wearing and why. And this is one really cool way to go about it. I go into a lot more detail about Project 333 and what it is and how it works back in episode 77. So check that out to learn more, and I'll link that episode in the show notes. You can also read the book, which is written by the lovely Courtney Carver. I highly recommend trying this challenge for yourself, and I've even included it as one way to simplify a busy season. So as we approach fall, which is personally my family's busiest time of year with back to school and 3 kids that all play fall sports, I am always aiming to simplify even more, especially when things get crazy. So I want to share a short list that I came up with, 5 ways to simplify a busy season. And the first one, as we just talked about, is to pare down your wardrobe. You know what? Do it for your kids too. Keep things simple and easy in this department. It really does eliminate stress that you might not have even realized you had. Second way, meal plan on repeat. Yep, I've read about people doing this and I'm going to give it a shot. Though, not just meal plan, but basically just meal plan for a week. I plan to make the same 4 meals each week and fill in the blanks with leftovers and probably a takeout here and there. But I'm going to try keeping it the same all month long. This is going to help with my grocery shopping. It's going to keep everything really easy and streamlined. And I'm sure by the end of the month, we'll be sick of those couple of recipes, but I'm going to pick things that everybody likes and that's easy and versatile. And then I'll come up with something, for the next month. But planning on keeping this super simple. Who says we have to eat completely different recipes every day of the month, right? Number 3, eliminate extra time commitment. Basically, don't take on anything extra. If you're in a really busy season of your life, say no. Say no when you have to. You don't have to attend every single thing that your kid is in either. If there's an away game that's really far and you can't make it, it's okay to not go to every single thing. Anything extra that you can kind of set aside and wait till things calm down, I would recommend doing that. Number 4, schedule in downtime, a weekend, maybe even just a half a day on the weekend, a Thursday night or a Friday night, whatever it is, schedule it. And I talk about this a lot, but if you don't intentionally block some time off for yourself, it can easily all be accounted for, especially during a busy season when you have a lot going on. So schedule it in. And lastly, ask for help. Think carpools, grandparents, and don't feel guilty about it. People want to help. This has always been something that I struggle with. But remember, especially when you're sharing the driving burden with friends that are in the same boat, it helps everyone involved have a smoother day. So do it. Just ask for help. One note on this. When asking family for help, I've learned the hard way that it pays to be organized and really forward thinking. My kids' grandparents are pretty busy living their best retired lives. So if I don't figure out I need the help and ask well ahead of time, they're most likely not going to be available. So use this as an opportunity to get organized, look at those dreaded schedules, and put some plans into place to simplify as much as you can. You can do it. As we wind down this last summer episode and the lazy days of summer, I urge you to take time to reflect. What worked this season? What would you change? Really think about it. Take notes mentally or actually write it out so that you can continue to grow and evolve and plan well for next year. It might be fun to date something in your journal and come back to it as next summer approaches. Did your pace suit you? Did you allow for enough room to breathe? Really reflect and listen to what comes up. Pay attention and learn from yourself because you, my friend, are your greatest teacher. This way, you'll be on the path to a more intentional season as we move into the fall. So thanks for bearing with me today with this croaky voice of mine. And I know I jumped around a bit, but I wanted to make sure that we got all that in today. And as always, thank you for listening. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you back here next week with our first full-length episode of September. Thank you for joining me for this episode of our Summer Short Series. I hope you can slow down this season to enjoy a summer that rejuvenates you and fills your heart with meaningful moments and memories. If you crave more inspiration, feel free to go back and listen to some of the year's longer podcast episodes. And don't forget to leave a review and share with someone who needs it. As always, thank you for your support.